Yo, what up? What up? What up? What up? Yo, what's good? What's good, everybody? Talk to me. All right, man. We're going live today. Ain't this content in a minute. So I need to make sure I got some out. Just went live, broski. Shout out to the family. You know, they hit you up as soon as you get ready to go live. But we're going to see we're going to pull up today. We're going to have a few conversations today. Got to keep this algorithm going, this algorithm spinning. So if you're pulling up to the chat, talk to me. Let me know that you're here. Okay, I see a heart. Okay, shout out to Miss Williams. What's up? What's up? Let me know the volume, and then we can get it cracking. Make sure. Let me know you can hear me right. As y'all know, make sure y'all share this live so we can get these messages out. Today, we're going to be talking about something I covered. I made sure to get as many of these out because I just did a podcast with Felicia on last Tuesday on the 5th. Shout out to her, Felicia Hamilton, on Felicia After Dark. And some of these things were some stuff that I brought up. So we talked about the Solomon Paradox. We talked about the Sunken Ship fallacy and the 3 Ps. All right. So we definitely will be talking about these. Though this is, I figured might be some people on, people getting off of work. I know it's a Monday. Though the Mondays are a little drab, excuse me. So, we're going to have us a little bit of a time here today. So the first one we're going to start on is the Solomon Paradox. All right, let me make sure. Let me get out here. Everybody that put up, make sure that you're liking your share. We'll talk about the Solomon Paradox. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Solomon Paradox is a paradox in itself. It's basically, it explains why King Solomon was the supposedly wisest person ever on the face of this earth, yet he still had a lot of problems. So as a podcaster, as a radio host, as somebody who holds a mic, does a lot of talking, I think that we need to understand that our words can carry weight. We have people sometimes that tune in to us and that listen to us. So you need to be a little careful about the advice that you give or the things that you say. And I would, in a perfect world, believe in what it is that you're saying. I think that if you believe in what you're saying, it'll come off more genuinely. It's not just for likes. It's not for, whatever. Now, that being said, the Solomon Paradox is about people being able to give advice, but they don't use it on themselves. So let me read the actual definition, right? And this comes from the Association of Psychological Science. That is, this definition is found multiple times, but that's the one that I'm giving right here. So the Solomon's Paradox is a psychological phenomenon where people reason more wisely about others' problems than their own. It's named after the biblical King Solomon, who gave sound advice but made poor personal decisions. It highlights a tendency for bias and reduced emotional intelligence when dealing with our own life dilemmas. Now, as Mr. Conversation, I have people come to me for advice all the time. Sometimes they hear a loud voice. Sometimes people gravitate towards it. Thank you for those that trust me enough with your business. Y'all know I don't tell you business, but I do use the conversation sometimes in my content. and nobody really has had a problem. Long as I don't say any names. So I say that to say this, but in my own life, and this also is information from other people that I know that do this. Not just this in particular, but just people can give advice, but it seems like that same advice we don't listen to. Now, why is that? So the problem is that most of the time you're not emotionally involved when you're giving the advice, right? It's a friend or a friend of a friend, it's an acquaintance or somebody at work. You're able to detach. Now, men say all the time we're more logical, right? That's what we say. So with us being supposedly more logical, we're a lot of times able to detach ourselves from the situation, not be emotional about it, and just give a just how we feel, right? Or our perspective. Let me put it like that. We give our perspective, right? Based on the information that we have at hand. That's why I tell everybody, tell me everything off the rip. That's why I tell people, like, tell me everything off the rip. Don't tell me a piece of it and then you go and tell me other stuff after the fact. Tell me everything off the rip. I can make an educated decision based off of, what we need to talk about. So when I'm personally giving advice, it's very easy for me to give it. It's very easy for me to just say 1 + 1 = 2. That's the answer. There you go. But yet in my personal life, some of the same lessons that I have talked about seems like I have a problem following those things. And that is what the Solomon paradox is. Because at the end of the day, Solomon faced ruin for decisions that he made. But if you look up his own personal writings, there's a lot of things that he talked about that seemed like he knew even more than just what is given to us in the Bible. A lot of information that this gentleman had, but yet he still ended up going into ruin. Now we take that again as somebody who holds a mic or as somebody who is someone in their peer group that always gives the information. Why we have a problem? Why do we seem to always have issues with the same things that we've talked about? It's easy to tell somebody be nice to your partner. But then when you get into an argument or something and you fly off the handle, it's easy to tell people to be calm. Don't y'all hate that person that it be like really heated and then they just come up out of nowhere and just be buzzing around trying to tell everybody, yo, chill, 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 chill. Like, bro, if it was a easily chillable situation, we wouldn't be here. But it's easy for that person on the outside because they don't have any vested emotions in the situation. So the problem becomes is that emotional maturity, that emotional intelligence, those feelings get involved when it's us. Miss Williams says she thinks it's because it's naturally easier for most people to pinpoint the flaws in other before acknowledging their own. Definitely. That's where the ego comes into. So it's like I can give the greatest advice on the same exact subject that I'm going through. It's easy to tell people to be nicer, but then the moment something happens to me and I respond with some fire, this is for me. Sometimes I got to put my own self on the hot seat. But want to tell people we can always give our kids advice. We can always give our significant others advice. We can always tell our friends the right thing to do. And we got the answers to the test every single time. Every time, y'all. But then When it's our turn, when it's your time to go and sit up in that test, all them test taking skills that we preached about. Yeah, you don't know an answer or leave it blank and come back. If you don't think you're gonna have time, you can start getting down there. Make sure that you answer every question. Then you got in there when that SAT came or that ACT or whatever test that you was taking, or those ASVABs, and you sitting in there and that clock is going, and you realize that them first 5 minutes you couldn't get the first couple of questions. You start panicking. Now you're second guessing yourself because when you are actually in the fire, everything's different. Numbers and statistics can only take you so far. There's a certain thing of practical application. That's why I tell people emotions do matter. I don't ever tell anybody to stop being emotional. Don't be so emotional. Don't be so emotional. No, I think emotions are, but should be 20% of our decision making process because yes, they can influence us, but yes, they are important. Otherwise, we would just become robots, and every decision would be just already done already because you just compute it. As long as you have enough brain power to compute whatever the best scenario is, then that's what you would do. And then that's how we end up having Skynet and all this other stuff. So emotions are okay to a certain degree. But we have to understand that when they come, don't be different because we're on the outside looking in. That's what we have to understand. Because I'm telling you that paradox right there will kick your ass. It will humble you. Why do you think that all these therapists and stuff like that, you be seeing them in trouble and all of that, and they losing their license? Why do you see all these politicians that have all these other stuff and all these other issues that's going on with their life? They regular humans too. And they can come up here and they can preach all day about what we should do, how we should move, this, that, and the third. But it's harder when it's yourself. And it's not necessarily being a hypocrite. That's not about being a hypocrite. It's about that's human nature that is built into us. That phrase, I'm 100 and all that, man, folks. You ain't 100 for real, for real. We got some 90 somethings around here. But yeah. So the next thing I'm gonna talk about is we're gonna talk about this sunken ship fallacy. Now, this one's gonna hurt some feelings right here. So I need to let y'all know. This one is going to hurt some feelings. When I talk about this one, a lot of people don't like it. So I want to give y'all a second while I pull it up again. Because I want to read you exactly what it is. So again, let me put it up on the banner so y'all know exactly what we talking about today. We just did the Solomon paradox, and now we got the sunken ship fallacy. Sunken ship fallacy is more commonly known as the sunk cost fallacy. It's a cognitive bias where you continue an endeavor because of the resources already invested in it, whether it's your money, your time, your effort, rather than its future potential. Let me read that again. The sunken ship fallacy is more commonly known as the sunk cost fallacy. It's a cognitive bias where you continue an endeavor because of the resources already invested in it, whether it's money, time, or effort, rather than its future potential. I don't know why I'm having a problem with that word, but anyway. Now, this is the problem with that. We've got to understand that just because we've been doing something does not mean we need to continue doing something. Got to get y'all to understand that. The sunk cost fallacy. We have to understand that just because we have been doing something does not mean that we should always continue doing it. Now, this goes for a lot of different things. You want to talk about, let's start off with politics. If you are someone who says you want change, hear me out, but you are voting for the same stuff, if you're voting for the same things, do you really think it's going to change? Or is it that you've just put so much effort and energy into the way things are that you are scared for change? Now, again, change isn't always good though, because just because you knew don't mean you good. There's two sides to this. But right now I'm covering that. Relationships, because that's people don't understand that. Just because you with that man or you with that woman does not mean that you should still be with that man or that woman. There are a lot of relationships that people are just together because they have just been together for so long. But it's not healthy. It's toxic. We have friendships where that's my day one. Yeah, that's your day one, but is that person good for you? Should that person still be in your life? Ask yourself that question. Do you get enjoyment out of this person? Does this person help you? Is this person a positive influence on your life? Or is it we grew up from the same slums? We rock with each other. So we cool. And that could be the same person that drags you to hell because they don't have your best interest in mind. You see, sometimes people start becoming better in themselves and you do actually outgrow people. But people will still stick to, well, because they're part of my life and they've been here, they need to stay here. No, no, not necessarily. Now, don't forget your people who got your back. That's not what I'm saying. But this right here will get you in trouble. Thinking that you have to stay somewhere just because we got time in, we have time invested. A lot of construction projects that go on. You know what I hear? Well, we've invested so much money in it, we just need to see it through. Sometimes you need to start over if it's not done correctly. On these boards of some of these churches where they have these building funds and stuff, and then they start building a church, right? But it wasn't done correctly. People is like, man, just go through with it. Just go through it. Go ahead. But if the foundation wasn't laid properly, it's going to be doomed to fail. Or you're going to have to put so much more time, effort, and energy into it to bring new people out, to, relay down the cement, to put different or stronger support beams in. I need y'all to think about this. Some of y'all are in relationships that you know you should not be in. You know you're not happy. You know it. And it don't even always be comfortability. Some of y'all can leave, but you're just scared to leave because I've invested so much time. You're going to be like the Titanic. That's why I say sunken ship fallacy. You're going to be like the Titanic. Oh, it's supposed to be strong, but there was issues with it. By the way, for those who are Titanic fanatics and stuff, I'm paraphrasing. This is not exactly what happened. Okay, let me say that. We'll actually, as people come through. Anyway, in general, do not go down with the ship. You're not the captain. That way of thinking, no. Sometimes go on, put on your life jacket and jump up out of there and get the hell on. Because is it worth it? Is it worth it? I get it. You got 2 kids by that guy. Right? I get it. You done spent 3 years with this shawty. You don't want it to be like, oh, I'm just searching for something better. Now, I get it. Nobody is perfect. Let me say that. first and foremost. Nobody is perfect, y'all. Nobody is perfect. So Frankie, earlier I talked about a rehash of what I was talking about on the what's it called? First thing was the Solomon paradox, where people can give advice, but they don't really take it themselves. I was talking about me personally, how the responsibility of having a mic and everything, but I still fall short myself. And so I can give advice, but there's some times where those emotions and stuff keep me from making the best decision in my life. But it turns out I gave multiple people the right advice. If I had to just turned around and followed the same thing I said, my life would have been a hell of a lot easier. I tell folks all the time, cut some of these so-called friends off. But yet, for the longest, I had a lot of moochers around me, slowing me down. Can I get this? Can I get that? Can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? And I wasn't focusing on myself, trying to work with everybody and be everybody's friend. Trying to be like, oh, okay, I don't want to be considered arrogant. I don't want to be considered um hard to work with. Yeah, they still gonna talk about you anyway. But I tell people that all the time. They still gonna talk about you anyway. But I wanted to be liked. So I kept having such an issue every single time because I was so busy trying to collaborate and trying to work with people. And then I'm slowing down because now I got to work on 17 people's schedule who really don't have the same effort and energy that I have in this shit. I'm counseling days of doing content and working with people. You know what I did? I got in here today. Nobody is available. I love my hot girls and everything like that. But they got work, they got jobs. Got a couple of homies I do stuff with, but they ain't available today. So guess what I got to do? If I want to keep that algorithm going, I got to get my ass up in here and I got to do it. That's me following my own advice. But for the longest, I was telling people all the time that same shit, but I wasn't following it myself. And that's what I mean by that with the Solomon paradox. Because King Solomon in the Bible was supposedly the wisest person, but he ended up falling to ruin too. And if you know any about his works that aren't in the Bible, his own teachings and things like that, man knew a whole hell of a lot. Wise beyond his years, beyond his station, even as a king. Godly type knowledge type stuff. But guess what? He still failed to ruin because he didn't listen to, you can have all that knowledge, you can have even wisdom, but if you don't apply it correctly, and that's what the paradox is. Because that's hard, boy. I be getting on this mic saying some fire ass shit sometimes, and then I be like, damn, I ain't even listening to that myself. Some of it comes from I made the mistake, so I give the information back out. All right. I made the mistake, but some of it is mistakes that I'm still making. You ever those Peter people, shout out to Peter. But I got into it with during the whole Michael Vick situation back in the day. So it's a while ago. So I don't remember the years, but whatever years that happened with Mike Vick, I was getting into it back and forth with them all the time, right? And this is before I started having a mic. I was doing other stuff, other content, but when it came to that, I was just basically just talking shit on Facebook back and forth. But when I be at these bars and I be at places and we be debating and we be going back and forth, we would have these conversations and about can somebody be rehabilitated? Is there a point of where society should forgive you when you've done something that we consider wrong? So there's so many different aspects to that conversation. And Frankie, I definitely want you to be on that when we talk about it. The morality versus legality situation, whether you spending time in jail. It was so much that I had to get to before I could get to my core point. And they wasn't expecting my core point. All these Peter people. Now we're at a bar. Let me set the example. We're at the bar. I'm at it was called the sports page at that time. Early on of the sports page. We sitting there. It's two people that love animals all day. Shout out to them. Shout out to Peter. That was the Peter crew. That's what you used to call them. They was like, yo, um, yeah, Mike Vick, I ain't gonna never forgive him. He dog fighting, he doing all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, bet, cool. One was eating wings, and the other was eating a double, a triple cheeseburger with bacon and ham. Double cheeseburger with bacon and ham on it. I want you to think about that. And I had to call it out. The asshole in me, it wasn't even really asshole. But she literally was like, hey, people who kill animals and this and that, you are a unaliving animals. Let me say that. You're a problem in society and this, that, and the third. And I said, ma'am, you are eating about 3-4 different animals worth of stuff on that double cheeseburger. What is wrong with you? You killed a cow for the beef. Y'all taking away the milk out from the cow to make the cheese. You've got ham, so that's pork. And you got bacon, so that's pork. So you got multiple animals that you are destroying right now. Then they had to change the conversation to, well, that's humane, the way that they do it and stuff like that. I said, you watch them videos of the electric prodding and all that type of stuff? You know, they used to just punch cows in the face and knock them out. I'm just saying. I just want to let y'all know that. So, when we calling the kettle black, or when you worried about what somebody else is doing and you making such a big deal while you got a big cheeseburger dripping with the grease all in your mouth, I got a problem with that. Y'all want to give advice and do all that, but y'all don't follow it your damn self. And that's my problem. So the other thing that we were talking about is the sunken ship fallacy. And I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're here. I'm going to go back over it again because, like I was saying, whether it's politics, whether it's relationships, whether it's whatever, sometimes we invest so much into someone and then it's hard to jump off the ship. And that's why I was referencing the Titanic. They had invested so much money onto that boat and its sister ship. They had said they were unsinkable. This relationship is so great. It's so strong. You did all that social media messaging, right? You was hard in the yard with it. You done told everybody you unsinkable. And then next thing you know, you done ran into a situation where she with somebody else now. She cheated. He cheated. He whatever. She whatever. They just don't want to be with you no more. Or they're still there with you, but they're not treating you the same. But now all of a sudden, you can't go nowhere. You scared because of this fallacy. Because, hey, I've invested so much time, effort, and energy into this person. You done told everybody that your ship is unsinkable. That's another lesson. Some of us need to shut the fuck up and stop telling everybody about our relationships, about the stuff that we got going on, and just move. I didn't say move in silence. I just said and just move naturally. But social media got everybody want to post every little thing, every little time. Folks know where you about to be before you can even be there. Folks know where your man gonna be. Folks know where you gonna be. They setting traps for him. They got pussy waiting online for him. Because you telling where he be at every week. Y'all better start thinking about this stuff, man. But getting back to it. We mad because we done told everybody all this stuff, and now we're 3-4 years down in the relationship, and now it ain't the same no more. Now the person isn't treating you the same no more. Now they're real colors. Now they're not the representative, right, that we talk about. You don't want to be there, but you can't go because you so worried about everything that's going on. You so worried about the appearances. You're so worried about I put so much effort. Oh, you know what? He ain't had no job when we first got together. I did his resume. I did that. Man, she ain't have a dime before me. I invested in her business. She wasn't doing them wigs. She wasn't going to school. Now she a doctor now, and da 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 da. I gotta stay. I done put so much effort and energy into it. No, the hell you don't. Cut your losses and get the fuck out. If you're not happy, get the fuck on. In politics, if you've invested in a candidate and you voted for someone and they're not doing what you thought that they should do, get them the fuck up out of there. Don't keep voting for them. If you feel that it didn't work, get the hell on. This could be a lot simpler. Now, again, I've fallen victim to this in certain things in life with my friends. We're putting so much into my friendships, being there, being scared in my mind, never projected that out, but maybe my actions projected it. So I don't know. Maybe they did know that and were using me. But it's funny that things took off a hell of a lot more. By the way, man, y'all like and share this, y'all. Make sure you share this so we can get more people pulling up in here. By the way, if y'all have any topics that you want to discuss, I got some time today. Put them down in the chat and we can chit chat about it. Let me give me a little swig of this real quick. Yeah. I got to get back used to the podcast and stuff with not being no noise and the silent stuff. Because when I be radio, I be playing the music behind myself. It's a little different. But yeah. Excuse me. Now, we have to, for me, with my friends, that was one of my biggest things. But it seemed like once the ones that really weren't my friends, they fell off. It was like the weight fell off of me because I was so busy always trying to do for them and show up for them. And then I wasn't showing up for myself. And then, of course, how it goes, when you need something, where they at? When you need something, they gone. But you know what happens? You start to see. And once you see that, once you see how they moving, and once they started dropping off, all of a sudden the weight lifted and I was able to move faster. I didn't have to spend hours of my day helping other folks all the damn time for nothing. Now I got people around my life that are self-sufficient. Now, everybody's going to need help at some point in time. Don't get me wrong. But I know I can ask. Anybody that I'm around on a regular basis, I know I can ask. Now, the next one, we got to talk about these 3 Ps. We got to talk about the 3 Ps, y'all, the 3 Ps. Somebody said, what is the 3 Ps? Well, it's the 3 Ps. The 3 things that start with a P that men want in their women. Now, don't get mad at me. This is what the gentlemen say. This is what they want. And when I looked at it because even I was looking at it kind of weird when I first heard it. Because I heard this on a video. A guy, I do not remember his name at the time, but I remember he said it. But then I saw multiple videos that said it. So I said, okay, cool. Then I started going into it. I was like, wow, I really fuck with this. So the 3 Ps that a man wants in his lady. His personality is the number 1, right? This the first P. Personality, how you can relate to him, the type of person that you are. Different men like different types of personalities. So don't get me wrong, it's not no one fits all. But most men will tell you, yes, sexual attraction is fine, it's cool and all of that, but you want a young lady or lady or whatever, middle age or old lady, whatever that you into, you want her to have a personality. You don't want it to be a blank slate. You want it someone that you can laugh with. You want someone that you can um go and read books with. You want just different things that you can do. That personality matters. Now she's gonna like different things than you. That's no problem. But her personality is going to hit. She's gonna be pleasurable to be around. Right? We don't want to be doing all this arguing back and forth all the time because you an asshole. Because you're overly argumentative. That does not mean quiet. That does not mean a slave. That does not mean that he is always dominant over you. That is not what that means, ladies. It means that there is going to be some times where you realize I'm going to back a little bit. That I am going to be in my feminine energy a little more. Now, this is assuming that you have a decent man that is willing to, step into his role, right? Most men, but that's that part. But the personalities can vary. But do you have one? You can't just be that cardboard box slate and you don't bring nothing in when it comes to that. That's the personality. That's the home girl. You got to have a little bit of that home girl. I don't know about y'all, but I like a lady that I can go watch some of the same movies that we like. I like when we ain't got to be arguing over the TV all day. Have some shared interests. So that's the first P. The second P, let me go ahead and cover this. This is pussy. All right. Go ahead and get this one out here. Pussy, 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 pussy. All right. We said it that many times. So y'all should be desensitized to it so we can get past it now. All right. So when it comes to that is the ability to move in a sexual space, right? And be comfortable in yourself as well as comfortable with him. That's what we mean about it. It's not necessary. This is not your look. This includes frequency. This includes quality. This includes if he has that sexual love language, if physical touch, which includes that, it's not just that. You knowing how to hit that button, being sensual. That is very important to the majority of gentlemen. Notice I said quality and frequency. I'll let y'all have that there. The third is presentation. Presentation. How do you look? How do you carry yourself? Do you walk with the slump shoulders over? Do you look like you don't want to be here? Do you go through life looking like you don't want to be here? Do you dress well? Do you smell good? That presentation matters to us. Men, we are visual creatures. We like the way things look. Some of us like curves. Some of us like height. Some of us like face card that never declines. That's the presentation. Okay? Now, the more of these you have, the more likely you are for long-term girlfriend status and wife. And the reason why I say this is everybody doesn't want to be a wife, and that's fine. I'm not one of those guys that's out here, you got to be attached to a man and you got to yada, yada, yada. That's not what I'm saying. If you do want long-term relationship as well as, potential to be a wife, you need all three. That equals wife. That equals long-term, he's mine, or she's, all that. She's mine, he's mine stuff. That's what that equals. Now, let's see what happens if you have two of them. So if you have a great personality and you have great pussy, but the presentation isn't all that. Let's say he doesn't find you exactly, you don't match all of those standards, right? Now I don't know why is he there if he doesn't like the presentation, but we kind of know why. But you know what you end up being on that. You end up being plan Z. Well, it's not quite plan Z yet. Let me stop. If you just got, let me do it like this. If you just have just pussy, then you end up being plan Z, right? Your personality ain't that good and you don't have good presentation. If that's all you bring to the table is just that, then you're plan Z. You're the one who gets the call late at night. You're the one who gets the call when everybody else don't pick up. He's been at the club to 2, 3 in the morning. He calls you because it didn't go down. That's what happens. Sorry. Don't be mad at me. Now, you can change those things and you don't have to accept it, but I'm just telling you who you are. Now, presentation. If you have good pussy and you have good presentation, but you don't have the good personality, he's going to call you the B word. Sorry. That he like being with you, but he can't stand your attitude. Mm-hmm. Let that sit for a second. Now, if you have good presentation and good personality, but that box ain't hitting, that's the pillow princess. I just want to let y'all know that. So, know where you fit it. You got pretty much plan Z. You got the home girl. You got the B word. Get all three. That's when you become long-term girlfriend or wife. If we have any objections, let me know. But that's how us guys think. Now, I can't tell y'all how y'all think, but I will, because I talk with a lot of you guys, men and women, I will put out how you feel. But this one, I believe, is pretty close to it. Everything that you can be comes down to those 3 P's. Are you attentive to his needs? Stuff like that. Cool. That can be under that one, even though he has more needs than just that. Presentation. That's how you look. That's how you smell. That's how you walk. Y'all ever had a meal and it just looked so good when it came to there because the plate, it was just plated correctly. But then you got there and you tasted it and you was like, this ain't hitting exactly like you were supposed to. You give it another chance, you'll bite over and over into it a couple of times because, wait a minute, hold on. Maybe that's just the end of something that dropped in the wrong grease. You're going to bite 2, 3 times because that presentation was so fire. It can get you through a lot. I'm telling you. People do that in interviews all the time. They be the biggest bullshitters. But that presentation be hitting so well when they come in with that fitted suit, when they come in with them gators that shined, when they got the nice tie and the cufflinks and all that, they come in. That presentation be hitting so well. Same thing. That's all we saying. All these analogies and stuff like that can go from one thing to another. You will be amazed how these simple concepts apply to all aspects in our life if we could just learn that really that's what they do. There's different nuances, but the application is still the same. Now, last thing I want to talk about is the importance of having a muse. As a content creator, sometimes I have blocks. So I want to say shout out to everyone who helps me come out with content, the conversations that we have, the back and forths, um, the inboxes y'all send me, the videos you guys send me. Thank you, because I couldn't do all of this myself. I could not. And each and every one of you that listen, first of all, I appreciate you for listening, taking your time out of your busy schedule, your day, to let your boy do his ramblings. But the importance of having a muse is very important. It doesn't have to be a specific person, but having people that can help jog me what I want to talk about, man. I appreciate y'all so much, man. I really do. Because I can do it, but you guys make it much easier. You guys are willing to give me content. You guys are willing to talk with me and jog my memory and, give me things that apply to you guys' lives. You didn't have to do it. Y'all don't have to do it. So y'all are my muses. That's who y'all are. Thank you. Ebony, um, Aisha, Janelle, Frankie, when we be doing, podcasts and stuff, talking, everything like that. Like, I appreciate y'all. Tamara, the homie Wayne, Doug, you know what I'm saying? Like, all y'all my dogs, man. Y'all my dogs. And I appreciate y'all because y'all don't have to talk, text, send me the funny videos, whatever it is that y'all do, you don't have to do it. They could be like, man, I'm working, man. This motherfucker get out my face. So, yeah, if y'all got anything else y'all want to talk about, man, I can go. I'll get up out of here. I mean, I can keep going, but if y'all ready to get up out of here, man, we can do that too. Definitely, y'all check out Frankie Foster. She is doing her interview with Felicia Hamilton on the 19th. All right, that's election day. So, I know she gonna get in. And she does such a very type of content just like I do. You can talk about so many different things, man. Appreciate all y'all who pulled up to that. By the way, let me reverse. Let me rewind for a second. Ooh. Appreciate everybody who pulled up on the 5th. I know I haven't done a lot of content since then. Had a lot of stuff, prom for my daughter, a lot of things went on. The Mother's Day concert, all that, being back and forth. But I appreciate y'all for showing up, man. That meant a lot to your boy. There was people who showed up that, I didn't think would have. I just sent out the flyer just to see. And they showed up. Meanwhile, there's people in my life I've known for a long time. And, they had excuses. But I rock with y'all. Y'all my peoples. I love each and every one of y'all. Have love for y'all. Oh, yeah. I'm going to get back on track. This week, I'm going to, if I do a show, it'll be on Thursday this week. My brother is graduating from respiratory therapy school. And he's got his license and everything. He's walking. And so I'm going to support him. Haven't seen some of my family members in a couple of years. So me and my son are going to go up there and we're going to do it big out there, man. Put on something nice and celebrate with my little bro, who's now my big bro, because he weighs more than me now. And if you know my story, you know why that matters. What else? Yeah, y'all make sure y'all go back out there to Spices, and we need to fill up the building for these type of things. We definitely need to do this more often. All right, these panels where we actually come together to talk about some shit with substance, not just gonna be all bullshit. We can have fun, but we need to have more important conversations. How are we actually going to heal this community? This election season has been so divisive. We have decade-long friendships that are splitting because somebody supporting one candidate, somebody supporting another candidate. We got people shooting shots. We have candidates talking mad trash, not to the other candidates, but to the constituents. I ain't seen that in a long time. That's crazy. Repeatedly going back and forth with constituents. You ain't even got the job, bro. You talking about this is a job interview. That's crazy. Yeah, excuse me, to citizens. It's not constituents when you're not. But anyway, but yeah, you, bruh. Anyway, but definitely, we have to definitely figure out because it's so much division going on right now. It's so much. How are we gonna handle it? Because eventually, somebody gonna win, somebody gonna lose. So when your candidate loses and you've burnt all these bridges, what we gonna do? Now, traditionally in this city, people just gonna put their head down for a little bit. They're gonna disappear off the map for just a brief little time, and then they're gonna come back and act like ain't nothing happened. So how we gonna do it? How are we gonna come back from this mess? We already was divided anyway. We're divided by color. We're divided gender. We're divided by income. We're divided, you know, by looks. We have so many different ways to be different. Do y'all see what's going on here? I'm gonna let Frankie touch this. I'm gonna let Frankie touch this. But with the gerrymandering, the redistricting of these maps, do y'all see all this stuff going on? So it's not gonna end, but I'm just talking about locally right now. I'm talking about, locally. What are we gonna do? But statewide, and it's going on right in front of our faces. But we arguing between each other and can't even come together. And we supposed to be on the same side. But anyway, I'm gonna leave. I'm not gonna be greedy, and I'm gonna leave enough on the bone because I know Frankie gonna come and eat down. And I will be there in the building. I won't be there with bells on. I'm gonna say the bells because I don't want to make too much noise. But I will be there. So y'all come, and if you supporting her or if you supporting her through me, whatever it is, but y'all show y'all asses back up again at Spices on the 19th. All right, that is 8 days from now, y'all. So y'all got time. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get the hell up out of here and make some of these clips and get ready and get my ass back to his house. I'm out.